Sophie had waited all her life to be kidnapped.
They writhe in fear, but I have waited. The schoolmaster will see I am different. Tonight I will be taken. The others are merely children.
The princess and the witch. Sophie had waited all her life to be kidnapped, but tonight all the other children of Gavaldon writhed in their beds. If the schoolmaster took the children, they'd never return, never lead a full life, never see their family again. Tonight these children dreamt of a red-eyed thief with the body of a beast, come to rip them from their sheets and stifle their screams. Sophie dreamt of princes instead. Sophie had arrived at a castle ball thrown in her honor, only to find the hall filled with 100 suitors and no other girls in sight. But just as Sophie came to one prince who seemed better than the rest, with brilliant eyes and magnetic black hair, the one who felt like happily ever after, a hammer broke through the walls of the room and smashed all the princes to shards.
Father, if I don't sleep 9 hours, my eyes look swollen.
Everyone's prattling on that you're to be taken this year.
Then you must make it stronger.
The father entered, his face etched with worry.
They tell me to shear your hair, muddy up your face as if I believe all this fairy tale hogwash. But no one's getting here dight. That's for sure.
In a room built to keep the world out, a father makes a promise, blind to the cracks already forming.
But no one's getting in here tonight.
That's for sure. Locks, why didn't anyone think of that before?
I have, Sophie. It's not that simple.
Then make it simple, Father. I want to feel safe.
I will, I promise.
In a world of fairy tale promises, who is truly chosen? Vanity or
Why
virtue?
they all think it's you. If it's goodness that schoolmaster fellow wants, he'll take Gunilda's daughter.
But Father, it has to be me.
Sophie tensed.
Belle?
Father said.
Perfect child that one is. She brings her father home-cooked lunches at the mill.
She gives the leftovers to the poor hag in the square.
Sophie heard the edge in her father's voice.
Sophie, a home-cooked meal. It's been so long.
Father, you know the oil and smoke would clog my pores.
A sore point, Sophie.
This didn't mean Sophie's father had gone hungry. Instead, Sophie offered him her own favorite foods: mashed beets, broccoli stew, boiled asparagus, steamed spinach.
Father, Lenvil's tried these.
But Sophie's father had not gone hungry. Instead, Sophie offered him her own favorite foods: mashed beets, broccoli stew, boiled asparagus, steamed spinach, lamb fry.
I prepared your favorites.
Thank you, Sophie.
As for the poor hag in the town square, that old crone, despite claiming hunger day after day, was fat. And if Belle had anything to do with it, then she wasn't good at all, but the worst kind of evil.
Like you said, it's all hogwash.
Sophie, wait, please.
The rude awakening had taken its toll. But still a princess, she thought. Sophie's father couldn't see she was special, but her mother had. Tonight, Sophie would be taken into the woods. Tonight, she would begin a new life. Tonight, she would live out her fairy tale.
You are too beautiful for this world, Sophie.
Tonight, Sophie would be taken into the woods.
My fairy tale begins.
And now Sophie needed to look the part. To begin, she rubbed fish eggs into her skin, which smelled of dirty feet but warded off spots.
Then Sophie massaged in pumpkin puree and rinsed her face clean.
Sophie, a vision of beauty, sought to perfect her flawless face. She applied a mask of melon and turtle egg yolk, a ritual of vanity. But could any mask conceal the yearning beneath her elegant facade? As Sophie waited for the face mask to dry, she flipped through a book and sipped cucumber juice. She skipped to her favorite part. Where the wicked hag of it remains is her bracelet of little boy's bones. Sophie felt her thoughts drift to cucumbers.
Suppose there were no cucumbers in the woods? Suppose other princesses had depleted the supply? No cucumbers! She'd shrivel, she'd wither, she'd die!
Sophie turned to the mirror and saw her brow creased in worry. First ruined sleep and now wrinkles. At this rate, she'd be a hag by afternoon.
Wrinkles already? I'll be a hag by afternoon.
As for the rest of Sophie's beauty routine, it could fill a dozen storybooks. Suffice it to say, it included goose feathers, pickled potatoes, horse hooves, cream of cashews, and a vial of cow's blood. Two hours of rigorous grooming later, Sophie stepped from the house in a breezy pink dress, sparkling glass heels, and hair in an impeccable braid. Sophie had one last day before the schoolmaster's arrival, and she planned to use every minute to remind him why she should be chosen. I am the one, not Belle, not Tabitha, not He will see my perfection.
Sophie's best friend lived in a cemetery. Given her loathing of things grim, grey, and poorly lit, one would expect Sophie to host visits at her cottage or find a new best friend. But instead, Sophie had climbed to the house atop Graves Hill every day this week, careful to maintain a smile on her face, since that was the point of a good deed after all. To get there, Sophie had to walk nearly a mile from the bright lakeside homes towards the gloomy edges of the forest. Sounds of hammering echoed through the street as Sophie passed fathers boarding up doors, mothers stuffing scarecrows, and children hunched on porches with faces buried in books. Today, Sophie noticed the children's eyes, wild, frenzied, scouring each page in their books as if their lives depended on it. Four years ago, Sophie had seen the same desperation to avoid the curse, but it wasn't her turn then. The schoolmaster took only those past their 15th year, those who could no longer disguise as children. Now her turn had come. As she slogged up Graves Hill, picnic basket in hand, Sophie felt her thighs burn. Had these climbs thickened her legs? All the princesses in her books had the same perfect proportions. Thick thighs were as unlikely as a hooked nose or big feet. Sophie felt anxious. To distract herself, she counted her good deeds from the day before.
First, I fed the lake's geese a blend of lentils and leeks, a natural laxative to offset the cheese thrown by stupid children.
First, I fed the lake's geese a blend of lentils and leeks. It's a natural laxative, you see, to offset the cheese.
The cheese thrown by those stupid children.
Then Sophie had donated homemade lemonwood face wash to the town orphanage,
Proper skincare is the greatest deed of all.
as she insisted to the confused benefactor.
Finally, Sophie had put up a mirror in the church toilet, so people could return to the pews looking their best.
Was this enough? Did these compete with baking homemade pies and feeding homeless hags?
Sophie's thoughts shifted nervously to cucumbers. Perhaps she could sneak a private supply into the woods. She still had plenty of time to pack before nightfall.
But weren't cucumbers heavy? Cucumbers are heavy. Perhaps I should juice them before I'm kidnapped.
Where are you going?
To see a friend.
Now, why are you friends with the witch? Why are you friends with the witch?
She's not a witch.
She has no friends and she's strange.
That doesn't make her a witch.
That makes her a witch.
Sophie refrained from pointing out this made Radley a witch too. Instead, she smiled to remind him she'd already done her good deed by enduring his presence.
Come along, Radley.
Right behind you, Sophie. The schoolmaster will take her for evil school. Then you'll need a new friend.
He takes 2 children.
He'll take Belle for the other one. No one's as good as Belle,
I'm off on friends at the moment.
but I'll be your new friend.
I'm full on friends at the moment. I don't need it, or you.
Okay, ma.
Radley turned the color of a raspberry. He fled like a kicked dog.
Oh, you've really done it now.
Oh, you've really done it now, she thought. Months of good deeds and forced smiles, and now she'd ruined it for Runty Radley.
Why not make his day? Why not simply answer friend and give the idiot a moment he'd relive for years? Sophie knew it was the prudent thing to do, since the schoolmaster must be judging her as closely as St. Nicholas the night before Christmas.
But Sophie couldn't do it. She was beautiful, Radley was ugly. Only a villain would delude him. Surely the schoolmaster would understand that.
Only a villain would delude him. Surely the schoolmaster would understand that.
Sophie pulled open the rusted cemetery gates and felt weeds scratch at her legs. Across the hilltop, moldy headstones forked haphazardly from dunes of dead leaves. Squeezing between dark tombs and decaying branches, Sophie kept careful count of the rows. She had never looked at her mother's grave, even at the funeral, and she wouldn't start today. As she passed the 6th row, she glued her eyes to a weeping birch and reminded herself where she'd be a day from now. In the middle of the thickest batch of tombs stood Graves Hill. The house wasn't boarded up or bolted shut like the homes by the lake, but that didn't make it any more inviting. The steps leading up to the porch glowed mildew green. Dead birches and vines wormed their way around dark wood, and the sharply angled roof, black and thin, loomed like a witch's hat. Sophie climbed the moaning porch steps, ignoring the smell and the headless birds. Ugh, that smell. Victims of the cat, no doubt.
I'm ready for this fight.
As Sophie climbed the moaning porch steps, she tried to ignore the smell, a mix of garlic and wet cat, and averted her eyes from the headless birds sprinkled around, no doubt the victims of the lash. She knocked on the door and prepared for a fight.
Sophie knocked on the door and prepared for a fight.
Go away. That's no way to speak to your best friend.
You're not my best friend.
Who is then? Sophie wondered if Belle had somehow made her way to Graves Hill.
None of your business. We had such a good time yesterday, Agatha. I thought we'd do it again.
You dyed my hair orange.
But we fixed it, didn't we? You always test your creams and potions on me just to see how they work. Isn't that what friends are for? Sophie tried to find something nice to say. She took too long and Agatha stomped away.
Friends help each other, Sophie said confidently.
Friends help each other.
Agatha replied, her voice laced with quiet
I'll
pain.
never be as pretty as you.
A moment of truth in their fragile friendship.
That doesn't mean we can't be friends. I brought biscuits! Real ones or ones you made? Fluffy and buttery. Biscuits just like you love.
Biscuits won't change anything. They might. Fluffy and buttery biscuits just like you love. Agatha, get your creepy cat out of here.
Y'all say I smell?
You don't smell. Then why'd you say it last time? You smelled last time! Agatha, the cat's spitting at me!
Maybe it smells ulterior motives.
Agatha, throw the cat out the door.
No. Reaper stays. Fine, but don't say I didn't warn you.
Reaper ran out of birds. thought we'd go for a walk.
I'm still trying to figure out why you're friends with me. Because you're sweet and funny. My mother says I'm bitter and grumpy, so one of you is lying. So we can't take a walk? A short one. But if you say anything smug or stuck up or shallow, I'll have Reaper follow you home.
After 4 years, the dreaded 11th night of the 11th month had arrived. In the late day sun, the square had become a hive of preparation for the schoolmaster's arrival. The men sharpened swords, set traps, and plotted the night's guard. Mothers begged the best-behaved children to kick their sisters. The worst were bribed to pray in the church, while the rest in line were led in choruses of the village anthem, "Blessed are the ordinary."
Blessed are the calm Jews of Pambe.
Fear swelled into a contagious fog. In a dim alley, the butcher and blacksmith traded storybooks for clues to save their sons.
Beneath the crooked clock tower, 2 sisters listed fairy tale villain names to hunt for patterns.
Even the fat, homeless hag got into the act, hopping before a meager fire, croaking, "Burn the storybooks! Burn them all!" But no one listened and no books were burned.
How can a whole town believe in fairy tales? Because they're real. You can't actually believe the legend is true. Of course I do.
That a schoolmaster kidnaps 2 children, takes them to a school where one learns good, one learns evil, and they graduate to fairy tales? Sounds about right. Tell me if you see an oven. Why? And what, pray tell, do they teach at this school exactly? How to rule kingdoms and justly. How to find happily ever after. In the School for Good, they teach boys and girls like me how to become heroes and princesses, how to rule kingdoms justly, and how to find happily ever after.
In the School for Evil, they teach girls like you how to become wicked witches and humpback trolls, how to lay curses and cast evil spells.
Evil spells? Who came up with this? A 4-year-old? Oh, Agatha, you are so dramatic.
Agatha, the proof's in the books. You can see the missing children in the stories. Jack, Rose, Rapunzel, they all got their own tales.
I don't see anything, because I don't read dumb books. Then why is there a stack by your bed? Look, who's to say the books are even real? Maybe it's the bookseller's prank. Maybe it's the elder's way to keep children out of the woods. Whatever the explanation, it isn't a schoolmaster and it isn't evil spells. So who's kidnapping the children? No one. Every 4 years, 2 idiots sneak into the woods hoping to scare their parents, only to get lost or eaten by wolves, and there you have it, the legend continues. That's the stupidest explanation I've ever heard. I don't think I'm the stupid one here. There was something about being called stupid that set Sophie's blood aflame. You're just scared. Right. And why would I be scared? Because you know you're coming with me.
Agatha stopped laughing. Then her gaze moved past Sophie into the town square. Everyone was staring at them like the solution to a mystery. Good in pink, evil in black. The schoolmaster's perfect pair. Dozens of scared eyes bore into Agatha. Her first thought was that after tomorrow, she and Sophie could take their walks in peace. Sophie's thought was whether they looked at Belle the same way. Sophie watched children memorize her face in case it appeared in their storybooks one day. Her first thought was whether they looked at Belle the same way.
Do they see Belle in me?
Tomorrow, Sophie. Peaceful walks.
Then, through the crowd, Sophie saw her. For Belle was just like the others. She wanted a mundane marriage. She wanted to rot in Gavaldon. She was nothing. Then, through the crowd, Sophie saw her. Belle with head shaved, dress filthy, Belle kneeled in dirt, frantically muddying her own face. Sophie drew a breath, for Belle was just like the others. Belle wanted a mundane marriage to a man who would grow fat, lazy, and demanding. She wanted monotonous days of cooking and cleaning. She wanted to shovel dung and milk sheep and slaughter squealing pigs. Belle wanted to rot in Gavaldon until her skin was liver-spotted and her teeth fell out. The schoolmaster would never take Belle because Belle wasn't a princess. She was nothing. Victorious, Sophie beamed back at the pathetic villagers and basked in their stares like shiny mirrors.
Let's go.
Sophie turned. Agatha's eyes were locked on the mob.
Where? Away from people. Okay.
As the sun weakened to a red orb, two girls, one beautiful, one ugly, sat side by side on the shore of a lake. Sophie packed cucumbers in a silk pouch, while Agatha flicked lit matches into the water. After the 10th match, Sophie threw her a look.
It relaxes me. It relaxes me.
Sophie tried to make room for the last cucumber.
Why would someone like Belle want to stay here? Who would choose this over a fairy tale? And who would choose to leave their family forever? Do you ever wonder where your father went? I told you, he left after I was born. But where would he go? We're surrounded by woods. To suddenly disappear like that. Maybe he found a way into the stories. Maybe he found a magic portal. Maybe he's waiting for you on the other side. Or maybe he went back to his wife, pretended I never happened, and died 10 years ago in a mill accident. Your mother's never at home when I visit. She goes into town now. Not enough patience at the house. Probably the location. I'm sure that's it. I don't think a graveyard makes people all that comfortable. Graveyards have their benefits. No nosy neighbors, no drop-in salesmen, no fishy friends bearing face masks and diet cookies telling you you're going to evil school in magic fairyland. So I'm fishy now. Who asked you to show up? I was perfectly fine alone. You always let me in. Because you always seem so lonely. And I feel sorry for you. Sorry for me? You're lucky that someone would come see you when no one else will. You're lucky that someone like me would be your friend. You're lucky that someone like me is such a good person. I knew it! I'm your good deed! Just a pawn in your stupid fantasy! Maybe I became your friend to impress the schoolmaster. But there's more to it now, because I found you out. Because I like you. No one understands me here. But you do. You see who I am, come back. You're not my good deed anymore, Agatha. You're my friend. What's wrong? Nothing. It's just I'm not used to friends. Well, now we'll be friends at our new school.
I sink to your intelligence level and pretend to believe all this. Why am I going to villain school? Why has everyone elected me the mistress of evil? No one says you're evil, Agatha. You're just different. Different how? Well, for starters, you only wear black. Because it doesn't get dirty. You don't ever leave your house. People don't look at me there. For the Create a Tale competition, your story ended with Snow White eaten by vultures and Cinderella drowning herself in a tub. I thought it was a better ending. Better, it's tragic. You gave me a dead frog for my birthday! To remind you we all die and end up rotting underground eaten by maggots, so we should enjoy our birthdays while we have them. I found it thoughtful. It's grotesque! Agatha, you dressed as a bride for Halloween. Weddings are scary. Fine, so I'm a little different, so what? You could have told me.
Why is it you want to leave here so badly? That you'd believe in stories you know aren't true.
Just that in fairy tales, different usually turns out, evil. You're saying I'm going to turn out a grand witch. I'm saying whatever happens, both of us will choose how our fairy tale ends. I can't live an ordinary life. That's why I like you. Because you make me feel ordinary. And that's the only thing I've ever wanted. That's the only thing I've ever wanted. One day from now, we'll still be together. Wherever that is, I promise. Our wishes will bind us and bind us. Always.
Both Sophie and Agatha made a wish that one day from now they'd still be in the other, wherever that was.
The sky is so beautiful tonight. It is. The colors are magical. Let's walk a little. Yes, let's.